resonates with you, type yes in the comments, okay? All right. You are here because you want to learn how to reduce frustrations, the yelling, the melting, the punishing, and increase the cooperation between you and your children, right? So it's super important that you block out all distractions. Give this time back to yourself. Do this for you and your kiddos. Put your phone on silent in another room, close all your tabs, put a do not disturb sign on the door. Here is mine that my daughter made me. It's hanging on my door right now. This really works. This is actually one of the strategies that I teach. Invite your kiddos into the problem solving process. That's how you get their buy-in and their cooperation. I won't go into all the hows behind that, but it's just so rare these days that we can give anything our undivided attention. But you are here for a reason, and I want to make sure that you're able to focus on this training. How does that sound? That sound good? All right. On that note, everything I'm going to share with you is equally important. So it's critical to learning the techniques to be able to be the calm, confident parent that you want to be, who has kiddos that listen the first time. So make sure that you stay till the end of the workshop so you can get the full picture and all the tips I'm going to share. So here's this little treat. Basically, I'm going to bribe you a little. We all like a treat, right? And we deserve it. Close to the end of the workshop, I'm going to post a link in the chat, and you can get instant access to this little extra thing, the easy guide to patient and cooperative parenting with a 2-step strategy to stop conflicts in their tracks. You will really love this. So tell me in the comments, type I'm staying if you can commit to staying to the end. Tell me in the chat. Yes. There we go. Amazing. And people can hear me, so that's good. Tell me I'm staying if you are staying. Yes, Maria, amazing. Yay, yay. With your newborn, amazing, Sarah. You are committed. All right. By the end of this training, here's my promise to you today. By the end of this training, I will show you how to shift away from the meltdowns, tantrums, and fights to finally end the overwhelm and build effective communication and cooperation with your kids so that you can engage in fun, meaningful activities like cooking and shopping together, camping, Disneyland. I don't know, maybe that doesn't apply to some of us. Or even just the general daily routines that must happen, and really feel that consistent mutual respect, ongoing cooperation, and deep connection with your kiddos, no matter what kinds of activities are happening. Tell me, what activity would you love to be able to do with your kiddo that you can't imagine going well right now because of the meltdowns? Maybe it's cooking, vacation, maybe just daily routines like eating, picking up toys, showering. What are you most looking forward to being able to do with your kiddos when those meltdowns are averted? Yes. Wouldn't it be nice if your kiddos just said okay to being asked to take a shower or take out the trash or pick up their toys instead of resisting and fighting with you? It's totally possible. Daily routines, yes. Outings are usually good, amazing. Being able to leave my house with 2 littles and not feeling completely overwhelmed, says Christina, out of control. Yes. So why hasn't this been working all along? During this training, you'll discover why what you've been doing so far for so long to try and get your kiddos to listen hasn't worked. And instead, I'm going to walk you through the missing piece that will make the approaches work. So imagine being able to skip over all the Googling, buying all the books, and wondering why you can't make the strategies work, all the trial and erroring, the crying and frustration, and just do what works. I know when I learned the communication-based techniques that I'm going to share, it changed my life. It changed my kiddos' lives, and it certainly changed my parent-client lives. And I know it can change yours too. So type yes in the comments if that sounds good to you. Yes, yes. Okay, so before we dive further, let me know if you can relate to any of this. Are you tired of engaging in the negative cycle of repeatedly asking, to begging, to threatening, to yelling, to melting, to punishing, and then to swimming in guilt for not being able to parent your kids the way you want to be, the way you know you can be? Are you fed up with trying to gently guide and discipline your kids positively, but they ignore you anyways? So you feel this approach doesn't work for you. You want to bring your kiddos into the kitchen and cook together and bond, but too often and too quickly, things become too chaotic. Yes, the parenting guilt is so real. I hear you, Lisa. And everyone ends up melting in frustration anyways. Do you feel in your heart that harshness isn't the best way, but being a pushover and having unruly kiddos isn't something you want either? Are you unsure how to get mutual respect and cooperation from your kids? Do you feel like, you want to parent differently than how your parents parented you, but you just don't know how? Do you feel like you want to utilize and model effective tools with your children so they have those same effective, respectful tools to use with their children, your grandchildren? Have you thought about this? Are you a cycle breaker, as so many of us are? You're here. Are you dedicated to a new intentional journey and legacy for yourself and for your kiddos? Tell me yes if any of those resonate with you. Yes, yes, I know. I know. If you're nodding your head yes in agreement to any of these points, I promise I'm not a stalker watching you. I have done all those things. We likely all have. And I promise you, whatever it is that you're doing and it's not working, it's not your fault. It's really hard to know what to do or where to turn. Parenting doesn't come with a training manual on how a child's brain works. And if you feel anything like I did back then, I would have done just about anything to end the intensely frustrating parenting moments with my kiddos, the moments when everyone was melting, including me, and the tears and the guilt, the resentment were defeating. I remember feeling this way. And I knew I didn't want it to be our journey, our legacy. Because what I'm about to share with you is the fastest, simplest way to get that ongoing cooperation and deep connection that we want. I want what you want. I think we kind of all want the same thing. So pay attention to these. Let me know which one resonates with you. To wake up every day knowing that you got this, that you can handle anything those little humans can throw at you with calm and confidence. No more relying on TV, screens, and screaming. All you want is to calmly and confidently meet each kiddo where they are, problem solve together so that true learning and connection can occur at the same time. You want to be able to stop the mean mom voice, the yelling, the guilt, right? And all you want is to feel finally relaxed, knowing that you're parenting from an intentional, communication-based approach and that you're guiding effectively and leaving a legacy of positive guiding techniques to follow so that your children have effective techniques for their children to follow, your grandchildren. Tell me in the comments, which one of those do you really want? Which one best describes why you showed up today? Laura says, I want to break the cycle. Yes, Lisa says, I want to be a cycle breaker. Have you mamas thought about the future, what you're wanting to change for the kiddos? Yes. Yes. Okay. So before we go any further, I should formally introduce myself. I'm Megan. I'm a parent foremost, just like you. As many of you already know, I am also a foster mom. Professionally, I'm a parent-child communication specialist, and I'm the founder of Connected Kids Thrive community and my signature program, the Connecting in the Kitchen method. I have also been the previous designer and owner of a little cooking and nature-based preschool. And in my recent past, I serve parents who are experiencing communication and behavioral challenges in the therapeutic setting, providing both clinical and in-home communication and cooperation-based therapy services. I received my undergrad degree in communication delays and disorders with an intentional focus on pediatrics. So I definitely have an edge when it comes to leading in the parenting space because I understand the neurology, the brain development behind behaviors so that we can work with a child's brain and not against it. I used to teach baby sign just to start that early connection, that early communication, and just to start averting those meltdowns. So super fun. I'm the oldest of 5 siblings, and I've been serving children and families in the professional space for over 15 years. And like I shared before, we are in the process of adopting another kiddo. So the reason that's relevant to you is because we are constantly taking extra parental trainings to become more equipped to handle behaviors and trauma responses. So yes, I really have a well-rounded background to support mindful parents who want cooperative, respectful, loving relationships with their kids and want to stop the yelling, the melting, the intense frustration, the negative thoughts, the overwhelm, and the loss of felt connection with the little ones that we brought into this world. So this was me. Frustrated all the time. The guilt was overwhelming. This was before I was able to parent from a place of calm and confidence. I often thought that perhaps I wasn't meant to be a mom after all. I had envisioned that parenthood would be my ultimate joy, but that was not turning out to be the case. I kept thinking, this is too hard. If I keep doing it like this, I'm going to mess up my kid. The constant toggle between not wanting to repeat old family parenting patterns and not yet knowing what to do much of the time was as confusing to me as it was my kids. I remember one time when I was a very young mother, my husband and I were at my grandmother's house, and I don't remember the exact situation of why, but my daughter began to cry. She was about 1.5, and I remember vividly how my little daughter Evie toddled from person to person with arms stretched up, begging to be picked up. But my grandmother forbade it. She just parented and controlled from such a harsh place. And as I processed that night changed me. I vowed I would no longer allow someone to convince me that harshness is the best or only way. There had to be a better way. And times have changed. I have changed. I am no longer the meek young mother with no power, no skills that felt good to me, and fear of being judged. Does anyone ever feel like that? Fear of judgment from others? Tell me in the comments if you are struggling with the same thing maybe, or something similar. Yes, very much. Yes, I know. I remember. All right. So I remember just feeling so guilty and lost so often. And I just decided no more. I was going to figure out how to parent in a way that my daughter and I, we felt like we were respecting each other. We were being heard, and our connection remained intact more often than it had broken. And it didn't matter what I had to do. Um, I made a decision to balance corrections and connections and learn how to turn corrections into connections. I'm so grateful that I made a decision to invest in myself. I would probably be still trying all the things that so many parents try, to read all the books, loving the ideas, but lost onto how to actually apply them, listening to old school family members, feeling judged by family members, but not really understanding how to implement new techniques, even if they follow your values, just not getting anywhere. Yes, all the time, very much. I remember. But like this quote states, when we learn how to do better, we are able to do better. And this applies for us as well as our kiddos. When we learn the strategies, then we can apply them. When we are able to address situations calmly and cooperatively, then our children are able to respond better as well. When everyone knows better, everyone feels better, right? Tell me if you agree. Yes, yes. So even though now I'm able to, consistently guide kiddos from a place of calm and confidence, and I'm willing to ably or effectively entice willing cooperation. And it's kind of joyful, actually. It did take a lot of trial and error to figure it out. And to be honest, I still mess up. I'm still human with a range of emotions, but I have been able to detect patterns. I really had I've had to really combine everything I knew with all the experiences I had been through, and I had to research new ideas and tweak them to fit how I truly needed and wanted to guide children. I just want to take a second and honor my daycare kiddos. Back in the day, I wouldn't be here doing this work in this way if it hadn't been for them. They honestly taught me everything. Um, about how to guide kiddos effectively more than any theory or formal education ever could. So yeah, here are my kiddos. When I first started my childcare, I remember thinking, this will be so easy. How hard can a group of 6, 3, and 4 year olds be? So that, yeah, haha, right? So funny. No, tell me crazy in the comments if that sounds crazy, because it was crazy. Oh man, it was definitely one of the hardest things I had ever done. I had to meet all of their needs, keep the place from blowing up. Um, I chose never to have the TV on. So without that distraction, there were lots of opportunities for conflicts and meltdowns and blowups. What I readily discovered, and I'm sure you would agree, is that one does not get to treat other people's children as harshly as their own, right? Do you find that interesting? So I had to figure out how to get these kiddos to want to cooperate with me and to cooperate with each other. Um, yes. So I was fully, just a second. So it took a lot of time and patience, and there was no way I could have arrived at my connecting in the kitchen methodology without having invested in my professional education and becoming an expert in using effective communication to guide and entice kiddos to want to listen. But I was fully committed to figuring it out. Going back to confusion and frustration was not an option. Um, One of the many discoveries, well, on that last note regarding my preschoolers, I want to mention the Coobaking piece, right? I talk about it so much. One of the many discoveries I made along the way was how I could use cooking as a way to help teach certain skills all skills actually. My preschoolers requested to cook our lunches together most days. And because they loved cooking so much, they were motivated and engaged to learn. That's what I found out, that all the skills they gained with us in the kitchen together could be carried over into any other activity. So all skills, listening, waiting, not giving up, sharing, turn taking, manners, conversations around tone, kindness, they were all happily accepted and practiced during our cooking time and then used the rest of the day. It was incredible. So we all thrived. Our frustrations were minimal and our cooperation and connection was through the roof. Yes, that journey just changed. It may seem like a tangent, but it was really pivotal in my whole journey. So yeah, are you still with me? Let me know. Tell me, cooking, if you thought that story was kind of cool. If you think that it's neat that the kitchen and cooking can be used as such a wonderful tool for teaching all skills and deepening cooperation and connection. Yes, yes. All right. So before I came to that place of calm, yes, I love that my 2-year-old can cook with me. Yes, there is no age too young. Some people think there is, but there is not. Um, so before I came to that place of calm and connected parenting, just a second. I figured out that, in fact, the meltdowns and ineffective corrections were because I simply didn't know the actual words to use and how to use them to get my kiddos to listen. And once I started to address the root cause, which was actually ineffective communication and the resulting communication breakdowns, I began to guide my kiddos from an effective communication-based approach. And once I did, everything changed for me and them. And I want to share how I did that with you so you can skip over all the trial and error too. So before we dive into the 3 main concepts that I want to teach you today, I want to share a short case study with you. It's important that you see examples of what real success looks like for parents so that you can ground yourself in knowing that it's possible for you too. So a mom I recently worked with wrote this. I've read parenting books, lots of parenting books. They all seem to have the same perspective. Show your child who is the boss and be consistent. I didn't feel like I had practical tools I could put into practice on a daily basis. That all changed during a session with Megan. By working with her, I was able to gain actual techniques that I could use right away. Communication, boundaries, and working together. What I thought would be another textbook ending ended up being very transformative in my perspective on parenting. It's about communication and relationship both. I'm enjoying seeing growth every day with my boys. So after Trina worked with me, she experienced her desired outcome to be able to more consistently pause and decide how to respond instead of react. Tell me in the comments, do you often find yourself reacting instead of responding? Yes. Yes. So imagine you had the tools to consistently meet pretty much every challenge your kiddo throws at you calmly and effectively with a tool that meets their needs, helps everyone feel heard and respected, and curbs the frustrations and meltdowns. Wouldn't that be amazing? Imagine that your family, you and your kiddos alike, could experience less melting and more confidence so that everyone gets to successfully engage in fun activities like shopping and cooking and going out together. And you're able to elevate your ability to recover and repair from meltdowns. Tell me in the comments, me, if that's what you would love to achieve with your kiddos. Yes, me, says Christina. Yes, I remember. Okay. Yes, says Sarah. All right, we are, so now we're going to get to those core concepts that I mentioned before. This will be fun and likely quite eye-opening as well. Before I get officially started on these, I want to mention that they may bring up feelings of discomfort for some of us here. Being a bit defensive can be a natural response to learning something new, right? Our kiddos may get defensive too when they're forced to learn something new. And I just want you to notice any of these feelings. And please know that I'm coming to you with this information from my heart. I want to be open and I hope you'll meet me with matched openness. Does that sound good? Okay, let's get started with these. So the first thing I want to talk about is that it seems that the parenting pendulum is swinging back from harsh punitive-based parenting tactics as the preferred method of guiding kids. Some research exists behind the why of this trend, and it seems especially true for new generation of parents. So go us, right? This is good. Yet, unfortunately, there has been some unintended consequences that are occurring. With all the new research on child development, what we know about the brain now, it has really compelled so many parents to back away from physical punishments as the preferred method of guiding kids. That is good. But now what? Everyone seems a little lost, right? I was a parent on that pendulum. I was a hitter. I practiced what was taught to me. And, when I think about that, it brings me to my knees, but it also motivated me to learn and practice differently, right? So I will just mention, the spanking and the yelling. That's where that's what parents do so often. And we do these things because they are moving, in the direction of the pendulum, but why do we do these things? Because they're reactive and they stop a behavior in the moment, right? Yes. We feel out of control a little bit, so we just go there. So type melting in the chat if you've ever been at this place of not knowing how to respond when your kiddo presented something to you. Or just tell me yes. I remember that. Yes, says Angel. Yes, Rhonda. Yes. Okay, so what about timeouts and time ins? They absolutely have their place, but they must be dealt with thoughtfully. And what makes the difference is intentional communication and tone around it. So why do timeouts not generally work? Nor yelling or hitting? Lots of reasons, but mainly because they don't teach a skill, right? The scenario is that there was a negative event. Let's say a child colored on a chair, and now, there needs to be a punishment for that behavior, right? So we punish, and now our child is angry, and we are angry. When a human, big or small, is in a very distressed state, no rational thinking or reasoning is available. Let me get a little nerdy here for a second, to brain nerdy. When our child is having a meltdown, all the power in his or her little brain is in the fight or flight system. Nothing is available in the higher thinking system, the prefrontal cortex. So here's a tip for you. Don't try to reason or attempt to teach a melting child. Have you ever heard of this? Wait till you both are calm, then bring in the lesson. Waiting is okay. Don't try to teach a melting child. Yes, Sarah, I love that. So, back to timeouts, you're dragging your child to timeout. If any thinking is going on at all, it probably isn't very productive, right? Have you ever heard of revenge thoughts? Tell me in the comments, yes or no, if you've ever heard of revenge thoughts. No, says Rhonda. Okay, so, most of the time we're dragging our kiddo to the corner, his thinking chair, quote unquote. He is not thinking, hey, you know what? Mom is right to put me here to think because I should have more fully considered how the colors really didn't look good on that chair like that. Next time I'll ask what colors she would like, right? No, they're not thinking that. If there's any thinking going on at all, depending on the age of the child, it is likely dark and unhelpful. Do you ever remember cursing your parents out under your breath? I do, for sure. And research just shows also when our kiddos are in such a distressed state, they need, yes, yes, says Sarah. When they're in such a distressed state, they need us to be with them. They don't need isolation. And on that note, when we dish out punishments like timeouts and grounding and other consequences, those things often have unintended consequences themselves. We as parents inadvertently often make our kids sneakier and propagate lying. I'll give you another quick tip here. If you know your child has done something wrong, don't ask them if they did it. You are trapping them and you're kind of lying yourself, right? I won't go into all the brain science behind that in this training, but for our purposes here, let's, say something instead like this. I noticed the dog still isn't fed. What is your plan for doing that? Super empowering, right? Tell me yes if you liked that last response. It's a really great way to avert lying, and it pulls them into the problem-solving process. All right. Shaming. A lot of our kiddos, we shame our kiddos inadvertently by saying things like, you're such a baby. Why don't you act your age? I'm guilty of those for sure. Tell me in the comments, do you have your own examples of shaming? Either you doing it to your child maybe, or your parents doing it to you. Yes, yes, I know. I remember. People big and small don't do better when they feel worse. So I love that little quote. And the reason all these parenting methods that we use in reaction to things, the reason they don't work is because they don't actually, yes, they don't teach any replacement behaviors or skills. It may stop a behavior in the moment, in the short term, but the behavior is going to repeat again and again and again because no skills have been taught. Have you ever heard of it positioned that way? Let me know. This all reminds me of the many parents that I've worked with when I was doing pediatric communication therapy and beyond. We'd be practicing a communication strategy to help with cooperation. And so often parents would tell me, they would say, these strategies would have worked on my other kids as well. Or I'd hear, I wish I'd have known these strategies for when my older kids were smaller. Our lives would have been so much easier. But for some reason, it's unfortunate that these strategies seem to have been kept to the clinic. And so that's what I'm here. I am bringing these strategies to everybody because they work for all parents, all kids, all children. All right. So what we really want as parents is cooperative kiddos who listen. We just want to raise well-adjusted, respectful, kind, confident, contributing members of our home and society. And we want a deeper, more robust connection with our kiddos as well, right? That's not an impossible goal. Tell me if you like those goals. Are those your goals too? What is your ultimate goal for your children? Completely, says Christina. Yes, we can get there. Yes, says Angel. So, yes, I share the same goals. Yes. So now we are going to move on to concept number 2. Why won't my kids listen? Um, at one point or another, or often, many of us think, my kid just wants to be naughty. They don't want to listen, and they're doing it on purpose. Tell me in the comments if you've ever felt this way. And oh, and what happy and kind kiddos. Yes, Sarah. Yes. The truth is that our kiddos do want to listen to us, which is they want us to see them as good. They want to do good. It is a biological desire, which is a really great thing. We all remember our endearing 1-year-old, right? Who was so helpful. Remember those days? And then we meet our 2-year-old, and suddenly everything changes. Children around 2 and 3 are really starting to develop their biological need to feel a sense of autonomy, a sense that they are their own person, separate from their most favorite person, you. They start to test their own ideas, push limits, their own and yours, and test boundaries. They are testing theories. When I drop this sippy cup, will it always fall and bounce the same way? And they are testing your consistency. Will my mom always pick it back up, even after she tells me she won't, right? When my dad tells me to eat my broccoli, can he really make me do it? So here's a tip on all of that. Never tell your children to do something if you cannot make them follow through on it. And there's a lot of communication nuances around that, but every time we go back on our word, our child learns that we are not trustworthy and that we can't always be believed, right? Have you ever heard of that before? But we've all been there. So essentially, our child is a little melting pot of essence, trying to please us as their parents and also trying to make sure they are serving themselves. So no wonder things are quite sticky, right? That is where we get our terrible 2 and 3-nagers. But it doesn't have to be that way. What I love about this work is really starting when they're so young and continuing and really building up scaffolding on their desire to please, and then using effective communication to continue that and just build a super strong foundation of communication and cooperation. So that is my favorite thing. So how do we help our children listen to what we say and meet our expectations with behavior? We do this by communicating in ways that help them successfully meet both those needs, to please us and to feel a sense of self. This, this goes for any, many of us have bosses, right? We want to please our bosses. We want to do well. We also want to comply with mandatory tasks, and we want to do it with a bit of pride and autonomy, right? Just like a 2-year-old. Actually, this goes with any type of relationship, parenting partners, spouses. We want to please other people within reason. We want to do what they ask. And when they ask us with respect, then we are much more likely to comply and do what they ask. So if we can extend the same courtesy to our children, we will be all better off. That is the reason why giving a choice is so powerful to children. Again, there's nuances on how to make that effective, but it might sound something like this. Oh, you're telling me you're hungry. Dinner will be soon. While you are waiting, would you like to color or play with blocks? Right? That helps our kiddos' brains start moving. The choice of 2 is amazing. Some parents view it as permissive and ridiculous, but it's not. It really is not. All right. So how do you feel about those examples of communication that I've shared so far specifically? That kindness, respectful choices, right? So, don't feel guilty about not knowing any of this. It is not your fault. Unless your parents actively practiced and taught these communication skills with you, you just don't know them yet. Therefore, you're not able to practice them or teach your children, right? But the amazing thing is that you are here with an intention to shift. Talk about cycle breaking, right? These approaches are fun and easy to learn. So understanding a little bit about the brain can help us in how we communicate with our kiddos and get better cooperation. So something I always teach my parent clients is to do a perspective shift. So let's go back to the boss analogy for a second. And let's say your boss asks you to do something and you inquire why. And you are told, because I'm the boss, that's why. Or do it because I said so, right? You might not have an adult-sized meltdown right then and there, but you're not very empowered either. Are these something that you've said to your kids before or have heard someone else say? So by learning these communication approaches, we learn what to say and how to say it, and how to teach our children what to say and how to say it. That's where the magic comes in. Parents are just, but what happens when they give you their own option? Yes, just know we can work with that. I won't answer that here right now because I need to get through this, but we will talk about that. Parents are really, stepping back from punitive parenting tactics, but now they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. We as parents, we don't want to be pushovers either, right? We want well-behaved kids who just listen and cooperate at least most of the time. Another thing that I get a lot is my kid doesn't listen even when I ask ever so nicely, right? Who's been there? Will you please take out the trash? Will you please turn off the TV? And her kid just looks at us and then we resort to yelling, threatening, punishing, right? So frustrating. How many of you have had this future? Oh, actually, what I wanted to share is I've been working with my mom, actually, with my 16-year-old brother. And she went from the typical asking to nagging to begging to yelling, both of them being pissed off. And now with what I've shared with her, saying what she needs to say in the way she needs to say it. And now he responds positively. He takes out the dang trash when he's asked. No yelling, threatening, just mutual respect, consideration, and cooperation. And that's our ultimate goal, right? To just have respect. How many of you have thought futuristically about teenage years, right? I think that's why most of us are here, so we can avoid those teenage meltdowns. Another misconception I want to share is that sometimes parents think that if they wait, then the struggles and challenges will get better or resolve on their own. Waiting is generally not a good idea to start making some serious shifts happen. Bad behaviors and patterns for the child and for the parent become even more ingrained and harder to change later. In fact, I'm actually transitioning to not working with families whose children are older than 6. It breaks my heart for sure, but habits and relationship dynamics are just so much more difficult to change. And generally, the family's needs and relationship repair are way beyond simple and fun, effective communication strategies and cooking to reduce the conflicts and increase cooperation and connection. When those struggles have just gone on for years, I generally recommend professional therapeutic support for both the parent and the child. This kind of necessary support gets expensive very quickly in every way, but it is what is needed to start undoing all the damage that has been done for years. So again, waiting is generally not a good idea. All right, so here we are at core concept number 3. We can learn to start to apply these effective communication approaches by using the kitchen as a tool. 99% of parents desire to have a successful time in the kitchen, bonding together with their children, right? Tell me if you agree. We all want to be able to create delicious dishes with our children and not have them running around, fighting over which color stool they get, being unsafe with knives, all of that, right? I think even more so, parents want to be able to remain calm, to be able to pull out a tool to positively address oopsies in ways that keep brains and bodies functioning right, keeping everyone cooperative and connected, right? So when, our little one tries their hand at opening a bag of chocolate chips and inadvertently rips the whole thing open, scattering chips across the floor, we can meet their anxious eyes, those eyes that worry how we might explode, in a way instead that problem solves together instead of sending everyone into freak out mode and disconnection, right? Can you see those eyes looking up at you, preparing for mom to freak out? So here's the thing, success in the kitchen with our children is a metaphor with how things are really going in the parent-child relationship. If there's little cooperation in the kitchen, there's likely little cooperation elsewhere. The kitchen is just such a motivating place to really help the child want to cooperate. Sometimes parents report that there is better cooperation in the kitchen and little elsewhere. And it'd be interesting to look at the patterns that support that. So how did I come to all of this? Because of parents just like you asking me to. Everywhere I went, I was using these communication techniques and modeling them in my workspace, in my group of friends my group of kids while cooking, at the park, on play dates. Parents would always ask how I knew this stuff and how they could learn it as well. Parents literally asked me to design something to teach them the communication skills that they saw me using or teaching with the kids. Here's the other thing. Not every parent wants to go to school for 4 years and spend $80,000 on learning communication sciences. Not every parent wants to turn their home into a daycare. Not every parent wants to serve in the therapeutic setting. And not every parent wants to train to foster children from trauma. And that is okay. Each of us has our own gifts and unique way of changing the world. But what every parent does want is better cooperation and connection with their kiddos. They just don't know yet that communication is the key to get there, right? Effective communication wasn't used with us, so we don't have those strategies to use with our kids. Tell me yes if you agree. Yes. Yes. So I created a program for everyday parents like you, these easy, just not well-known communication strategies that will help drastically reduce the frustrations and increase cooperation and connection with your kiddos. I came up with my unique approach by combining my 3 experiences, my degree in communication sciences and neurology, guiding kiddos in my preschool, and my time helping parents communicate with their kiddos in the therapeutic setting. And now I can add all of my ongoing training to be a better, more equipped foster mom. So, how do I do this? I have put these experiences together in a three-phase system to really ensure maximum transformation. Phase one, elevating awareness and setting parents up for success. Looking at what parents are doing and why it's not working. Phase two, we look at common stressors within the kitchen and in other typically daily routines, and we discover the exact strategies, the communication strategies to solve for those breakdowns. We look at what we are saying, how we are saying it, and what needs to be said differently for better return responses so that we can team with our kiddos and keep that cooperation. And then phase three, we go deeper into co-baking and in the kitchen and beyond. How to appropriately bring in the senses, all of the senses, how to embed math, higher level vocabulary, making mealtime pleasant, how to talk about healthy food in ways that are empowering and not tipped in scarcity so as to avoid deprivation and binge behaviors, how to make grocery shopping a supremely fun and connected, cooperative, and character building event. So that is the system that I've created. So let me know, would you rather continue to use the old way of reacting and telling, or try a new method of responding and communicating? Type old or new in the comments and let me know. New, says Christina. New, new, new. Yes. In my program, parents learn and practice these communication strategies in a variety of ways. But again, it's that co-baking together. So instead, a common reaction to a dropped egg might sound like, gosh, you should be more careful. You never pay attention. I knew that might happen. Why can't you just listen? Into something more like, oh, I see an egg on the floor. Did you notice how smooth and slippery they can be? We must use calm, slow hands when we handle eggs. But you know what? Everything's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. Would you like me to help you clean it up? What shall we use? Right? How did that feel? The first versus the second. And one thing I just want to note is that even though Coobaking is a part of the program, it is not about the food at all. It is about getting that cooperation and connection. Yeah, so tell me if you liked that second response. Tell me number two if you liked that second response. What is even more amazing is when parents report back that their kids are using the same language and communication that they are. So just the other day, one of my parent clients shared that she herself dropped an egg and her child said, and I quote, "It's okay, mommy. Everyone drops eggs. I'll help you clean it up." How does that feel? Right? Amazing. Yeah. So there, did I? There are so many parents. Oh, I'll go back. There are so many parents interested in this communication work, interested in being able to bond deeply while cooking. So why aren't they here already? Oh, heart melt, says Sarah. I know, Rhonda. A big reason that parents aren't here yet is because they don't have professional accountability and the right support, the right someone and the system to help them reflect, analyze, and actually shift for good. All of my parent clients value the professional support so much. Actually, Brianna, who just graduated last week, shared this. I found the support to be the missing piece of the puzzle that glued it all together so that I could implement the teachings more effectively. So yeah, now she is on to the next level membership and she's continuing her work. But it's that support that is so, so important. All right. So, core concept review. Let's do review the concepts that we just went over. Here's what you learned so far. Um, Concept number one, the parenting pendulum is swinging from harsh physical tactics to, consequences, to yelling and shaming, and it still needs to continue to swing where we are all really doing the hard work, the important work of communication. But again, why don't these work? These typical parenting tactics is because they don't actually teach any skills or replacement behaviors, right? They stop it in the moment, but they don't work in the long run. Core concept number two, we discovered that our kiddos are not trying to listen, are not trying to not listen on purpose. They actually do want to please us. And now you understand that we need to shift our own communication approaches to work with our child's brain so that we are setting them up so that they can feel both their desires to please us and to feel a sense of autonomy. We talked about how it's not your fault that you don't know this stuff. If your parents didn't know this and use the effective communication strategies that we've talked about, then there's nothing for you to imitate with your children. Again, none of this is your fault. And core concept number three was super powerful because I walked you through how I came to this method and how it equips me to do this in this unique way. I walked you through the exact method that I use, that I share with all of my parent clients to help them discover how to communicate the what to say and how to say it in ways that helps their child want to listen so that they can avoid yelling, punishing, and feeling guilty about fractured connections, right? So why did you show up today? You showed up because you want a different way. You want to have kiddos listen without having to ask and bribe and beg and yell and threaten and give harsh punishments, right? You want a simpler way to achieve real cooperation. Tell me yes if these resonate with you. In and out of the kitchen, right? You want to stop feeling overwhelmed and guilty that you don't know what to do when your kiddo melts or how to avoid one altogether. You want to learn how to stop the reacting and learn how to respond calmly and intentionally so that you can turn most every oopsie into a cooperative and connected learning opportunity, right? This is not about stopping meltdowns. This is about connecting through them. Well, kind of stopping meltdowns, but connecting through them and really getting those lessons in. You want to better learn how to effectively communicate with kids so that you meet both needs, right? So they are more supported in wanting to listen so that you can do fun things like shopping, cooking, going out, and even just get through the day-to-day routines without the meltdowns. So my big promise to you, right? At the beginning of the training, I made you a promise. I promised that by the end of the training, I will show you how shifting away from the meltdowns, tantrums, and fights will finally end the overwhelm and build effective communication and cooperation with your kiddos, and why it's so important, so that you can engage in fun and meaningful activities like cooking, shopping together, so that you can really feel that deep cooperation and connection with your kids. Now, here's the thing I want you to remember. Everything that I've shared with you today isn't some random theory that I think might work for you. These have worked for many, many parents in the therapy setting, in the private setting. I'm not special. They're not special. We all have our own barriers, misconceptions, and busy lives. And if they can do it, I am confident that you can do it too. All right. So, question. Would you like me to help you get to that place of confident parenting, being fully equipped with tools to help you meet challenges with your kiddos in productive ways, ways that are communication based and connection based? Ways, tell me yes if this is what you're looking for. Ways that work with your child's brain so that they are more able and willing to be open and receptive to discipline so your connection remains strong. Yes, yes, says Sarah, Christina, Angel. Yes, yes. We want our children, our child to be able to experience you as their parent, as an ally to help them work through problems and conflicts versus someone who's just bossing them around and seemingly against them, right? Yes. So now we have a choice. You can continue doing what you're doing, engaging in the seemingly inevitable and frustrating cycle of constantly asking, being ignored, bribing, yelling, melting, timeouts, punishments, etc., all of that, hoping that it works and hoping that things eventually resolve on their own over time. Or you can choose a simpler path and use the connecting in the kitchen method that comes with a proven system and accountability so you can get to your goal of parenting from a place of communication, cooperation, and connection. The choice is totally yours. Now, throughout the webinar, you've heard me mention the connecting in the kitchen method. This is how I can help you achieve calm, confident, cooperative, and connected parenting. Would it be okay if I took a few minutes to share how I can best support you? Type yes in the comments if that would be okay. Yes, yes, thank you. Okay, awesome. I am honored to be sharing this opportunity with you because the best way I can help you is by personally supporting each of you. So what I've done is set aside time over the next 7 days to speak with you personally about how I can support you to apply what we've talked about today so that you can get clarity on what's been going on for your exact situation and how long it's been going on, what you've already tried, what helped, what hasn't, and what you need to get to your goal. I have reserved about an hour for us to chat. I do that with a call called the Connection Breakthrough Call. It's about 60 minutes, and you'll gain so much confidence with this call. You'll be thinking like, why aren't you charging for this? And I'm not charging at all. I am certainly not the only parent, the parent coach in the parenting industry. There are lots of other people doing it, which is great. But I am the best at working with parents who are committed to changing their stories, who are interested in learning about the brain, about the communication, and who really want to team with their kiddo in solving problems together. Looking for that deep cooperation so that living with constant frustration, the yelling, the punishment, the melting is no longer such a common reality. I transformed my own life and my parent clients' lives. So here's what to do next. Use the link that I am pasting into the chat right now to schedule your call. Let me know if you can see this. This is what, yes, okay, great. This is what the call will look like when you get to the scheduler. You'll click, well, this link will take you here. You will choose your time zone, pick your day and your time, leave a number that is correct, and I will call you right at the right time that you have indicated as best. All right. Now that you know how to do your scheduler, let's get, we'll get clear on the call, we'll get clear on a few things, what your specific goals are for you and your kiddos and why you want it. any obstacles and challenges that might derail your success. This way, by the time the call is over, you'll leave with helpful strategies that propel your success. Does that sound good? Tell me yes in the comments if you know having a call like this will help you. Yes, amazing. Yes, great. All right. This call, yeah, is we are talked about. It's 100% free. Parents are sick of the constant melting and yelling, and kiddos are sick of it too. It hurts everyone, both parent and child's confidence. I have a core value in my business where I offer value first, and I just start off by helping you. And that's with this webinar and with the call. So the call is, there is one catch. If you are looking for a quick fix or a magic pill, so to speak, a way to force your kids to listen by whatever means necessary, if your connection isn't the priority, if you aren't interested in reflection or in communication or a little bit about the brain or in a little bit of cooking, then, or to learn tools to help, your kiddos want to listen and cooperate with you, then this call isn't for you. All right. The other thing that I want to share is that, if your kiddo is older than 6, this call may not be for you. I am shifting from working with kiddos over 6. So if your kiddo is just slightly over 6, feel free to book a call anyways. We can talk and see kind of what the situation looks like, where your desire is, and we might be able to finagle that a little bit. But this call is definitely not for you if you're just kind of want to wait and see how things turn out. And if that's something you want to do, that is fine. You get to do that, right? This call is for you. I know the system works. I've shown you examples throughout the training of some of my parent clients who've had success, and there's a reason that they've achieved it, right? They're committed to their goals. I want success so badly for all of my parent clients and for you too, but I can't be the only one putting in the effort. I 100% believe and know that when you commit to goals using the system, that you will have success. So the first step is to schedule a call. And if you're someone, this call is for you. If you're ready to stop doing all the things that don't work, that the road to success isn't straight, it's bumpy and windy, but you are committed. That you want to learn about these fun, simple, proven, effective communication techniques that are only seemingly available to parents with kiddos who are in developmental or behavioral therapies, are coachable, and you ask for support and accountability, are tired of trying things that don't work and getting short-term results, right? We talked about that. You want to keep deep connection with your kiddos so that when there are mistakes made, the cooperation, the connection is there and they are easily repaired, right? It's for you if you're feeling defeated because you've read all the books, right? I get that so often. I've read the books. I just don't know what tool to apply when I need to. You're actively trying. You're just not 100% what strategy to use to help your kids cooperate. Yes. If this is you, if you are someone who wants support and accountability so that you can sidestep all of those obstacles that used to hold you back, make sure you schedule this call, right? I don't have a call center doing these. You or I, or you and I, or you and my partner Janice are going to jump on the phone together, depending where you are in the world, so that we can do our absolute best to support you, okay? I have my certain times blocked off and she has hers because we serve parents all over the world. So even if you've tried reading all the books and you just want something different, the program includes support and accountability that traditional methods don't. All right. If this is you, whoops, schedule your call. All right, we are at that time, present time. Thank you, so much for attending this live training today. As promised, here is the easy guide to patient and cooperative parenting with a two-step strategy to stop conflicts in their tracks. Tell me yes in the comments if that sounds exciting. This is my gift to you for committing to your first step in the journey, elevating, to elevated parenting for better cooperation and connection with your little ones. So I am going to be pasting this in the chat now. Here we are. All right, let me know if you can see that. You can click the link directly and the PDF will automatically start downloading, or you can copy and paste it into a browser. If the link doesn't worry, oh, you're so welcome. If the link doesn't work, just email me at megan@connectedkidsthrive.com, and I will post that here too for anyone who has any other questions, or if you don't get this link. And I'll send it right over to you. Oh, cool. Yay. All right, everyone is getting it. Amazing. So just Q&A time. We're almost done, everybody. All right, so do you call me or do I call you? I call you at the time and number that you have indicated. How long is the call? It's about an hour. Parenting is hard, right? It's a lot of stuff going on. So to get down deep and discover what's going on, it takes about an hour. Is there a catch? Whoops. No, there's no catch. We will get clarity on exactly where you and your kiddos are in your cooperation levels, what your communication looks and sounds like, and we will see exactly what you and your kiddos need so that you can parent your kiddos in the way that you want to. Is this call for me if I don't like cooking? Here's a big one. Yes, I'll tell you a secret. I don't love cooking either. Many parents don't. A lot of parents do. Some of us don't. So that may be surprising. Does that surprise you to hear that I don't like cooking? Tell me yes in the comments if that's surprising. What I do love is the benefits that cooking provides in supporting communication, cooperation, and connection. That's what I'm obsessed with. And all the work that we do is not about the cooking. It's about the connection. We just use cooking together as a way to strengthen our bond and increase our desire, that cooperation from our kiddos. Lisa says it's very surprising. Yeah, Lisa, your baby's 11, or sorry, Laura, your baby's 11 months old. Words are coming. Meltdowns are going to start coming like crazy. There's so many things we can do to start building that cooperation now. How to talk about sharing and turn taking and all these things that we can so embed with our little tiny ones to avoid so many of these issues that sometimes parents come to me with. So there is no age too young. The earlier, the better. All right, everybody, thank you. We went a little over. I apologize. Thank you so much for coming today. As I said, it's my mission, my purpose on this planet to support you. I just want to share the exact same tools that changed my kiddos and my life with as many parents as I can to change their lives. We are all doing this hard work. So if you booked a call, I can't wait to chat with you. The call is about me being of service to you. And if we agree that it's a good fit, then we can discuss what that looks like. Either way, you'll get so much out of our time together. And I'm really looking forward to talking with you. And with that, I think we will be done. I appreciate everybody, and we will see you in the group, and have a wonderful night, and we will talk soon. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Stop share. Um, hey, hold on. Hello? Congratulations. Oh, I think I'm not sorry. Would you download the oh, let me mute.